What's up, guys? Filming this video out of very popular demand. There's a lot of interest having been received on what OddsJam is, how I'm doing what I'm doing, how I make my money. So I'm going to show you all the ins and outs of OddsJam, how I've used it to work for me, how you can use it to work for you. I want to try to make this short, quick, keep your attention span. I don't want to get too in depth, but if you have any additional questions, please reach out. More than happy to help you. So first things first, we are going into the positive expected value screen. Basically, what this is doing is OddsJam as a software has many powerful tools. This is one of them. And what this software is doing is it is compiling lines from multiple sports books. What I mean when I say lines is I simply mean what a certain sports book has a bet priced at. As you can see here, FanDuel, which a lot of you guys know, they have the Padres at -112 to win, or they have the Mets at -104 to win. And basically what these odds are saying is in order to win $100, you have to bet 112. And in order to win $100, you have to bet 104. So in this scenario, the Padres are favorited and the Mets are considered the underdogs. But if we look at the poly market here, poly market actually has the Padres at +104, while certain books like Pinnacle -109, or again, back to FanDuel -112, they actually have the Padres favorited. So this is a really good bet here for us to take on poly market because we're actually getting plus odds, which means we only have to bet $100 to win $104, right? Whereas if we go back to FanDuel, you have to place $104 to win 100. So anytime basically there's plus odds, you are getting a quote unquote a greater return in the sense of, you bet 100 and you're getting more than that rather than having to bet, $104 to get 100. So this is simply what expected value is. This is how OddsJam operates, finds you the best price on the best bet. And again, there's no guarantee that this bet is going to win, but in the long run, because you are playing a statistically profitable bet and method, you will be profitable. So OddsJam will even show you, the bet size based on what your bankroll is. So you know exactly how much to bet and to make sure that you don't burn through all your money on one particular bet. So sort of an experiment I like to do with people is I like to go to this virtual coin tosser. And if we go here, we saw that we had a 4.71 advantage. So we're going to write 54.71. So basically what this is doing is it's showing that you're flipping a weighted coin. And this is a bet that you're going to take every single time. Now, this is not the likelihood that the bet is going to win, right? Because if we look at this, it says 51.3. And if we read this probability thing here, this is the true chance of the bet winning based on what the market odds are telling us. And so when we go into the virtual coin here, we flip this, right? And as we can see, 50-50, okay? Experimental, sure, theoretical, we should be profitable. Let's do another time. We go 20. Okay, we're in a losing streak. That's completely understandable. That happens. We go to 30. Okay, there we go. Now we're profitable. Now, let's say we do this 100 times, right? We're profitable. And there's going to be spells where, you're losing, what is this, 5 bets in a row? Because in this example, probability of getting tails is favorited. So it's just part of the math. It's part of the game. The more volume, the more bets that you can place, that's when your statistical edge is going to start to come out. So that is simply positive expected value. It's an extremely powerful tool, and this will really help you start to become profitable sports betting. The next piece we're going to go to is arbitrage. Arbitrage is where there are discrepancies as well in the market, but on basically the same bet, but the opposite outcome. So if we can try to go to, let's say, a money line here, right? This basically is for this team to win or for this team to win. And because there's discrepancy in the odds, you're able to bet both sides, right? And one of these teams has to win, which means that you are making risk-free profit because regardless of which team wins, you have the bet covered. So we go here, great tool from OddsJam. Help me make this bet. It shows you, okay, if you win the primary bet, right, you win 75.76, but you lose your wager of $74, so you profit $1.76. Same thing on the other side. And again, it might not seem like a lot, but if you start throwing big numbers in there, where this is 1,000, all of a sudden you can make $17 to $21 in a matter of minutes. I mean, it is so easy to be able to place a bet like that. And then, of course, once you get into higher numbers like this, 7.41 is pretty decent. And you know what? Let's actually, if this is still here, hopefully it doesn't go away. Let's actually take a look at what it might look like to bet this. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to click bet, and that's going to pull up this Profit X screen. And then in the process as well, I'm actually going to pull up Bet365 on my phone. And as you can see here, it will pull up exactly what I need. Let's make sure I'm signed in. So there's only 47 liquidity left, which a bit unfortunate. So we're going to type in 47.92 and go in here, 47.92. Oh, so again, you're only betting less than $100 and you're making a return of $5 to $10 on this. So we're going to leave that here. Now, it says plus 122, but you're actually going to have to subtract less because Profit X takes a 3 uh, percent sort of tax, whatever you want to call it, on your winnings. And so this number is actually, it looks like to be a little bit off because this should be actually minus 119. So let's just double check here because maybe there's a different line that is available. Okay, there we go. Yeah, okay, cool. So now there's more liquidity. So as you can see, it's still off by one. This is something I have noticed with OddsJam, but that's actually okay. So there's more liquidity available, which is great. So 315. Cool, 315. So as you can see here, we're making anywhere from 48 to $53. So we're gonna try to leave that there. Thankfully, I have the money in my account to be able to do that. I'm logging into my Bet365 right now. Bet365 has been a little bit tricky with me recently. So what I actually am gonna have to do is go here. And then what was our bet that we were looking at? So it was Zebby Matthews. Hopefully they have the line. Uh, okay, unfortunately they do not. Maybe it left, maybe it moved. Yeah, so this is the thing. Sometimes you have to move quick. It's part of the game. I tried to do that on, this video so you could get an idea. But as you can see, if we were just a little bit quicker and if I was able to lock that in, that would have been basically $40 right there in a matter of minutes. So yeah, that's simply arbitrage, right? Gives you the opportunity to make risk-free profit, and generate a pretty decent return on your bankroll. So next thing here is promo converter. This is simply similar to arbitrage, but what it's going to do is it's going to take advantage of these promotions that a lot of these books will offer you. So we were just talking about Bet365. We'll go here, convert promo. Let's say you get a $100 bonus bet. And again, if you have this kind of money, you actually make more money than what they're giving you for free. But let's look at something that's maybe a little bit more attainable for the average person. So, okay, here you go. So here's like, you only need 350 total. So again, you're betting the same sort of bet, just opposite outcomes. And, it's going to show you, okay, if you bet your $100 bonus bet and you win minus the hedge bet, you come out with $80. And then same thing on the other side. You don't lose anything because they're giving you the $100 bonus bet for free, but then you have the hedge bet as a cover. So great opportunity for that. Some of these books will match your deposits, which will require a playthrough. OddsJam also has a tool for this called low hold. So this is simply where you'll be able to play through, right? That's where the term comes from. For example, if you deposit $100 and they require a 10x playthrough, you'll have to play through 1,000, which is okay because basically what you do is, right, you bet on these each side, and then whatever wins, you have a profit, and then you can always deposit back into the other book in order to keep playing through to quote unquote release the deposit. So that's simply some of the best tools that OddsJam has to offer. There's other features that we can get into, but for the sake of the length of the video, I would like to move on. The next really important piece and great tool that OddsJam has is a bet tracker. You do want to make sure that you are tracking your bets. As you can see, I'm up over $600 this month. Another great tool to download is Pickit. Pickit is a verified bet tracker. You can go in, you can even track my bets as you want as well too. These are not directly tied to OddsJam because I only use OddsJam for books that Pickit does not offer, because there are some particular offshore books that Pickett doesn't have integration yet with. So if we go to my history and we look for this month, I'm up over a grand plus the $663. So, as you can see, I've made over $1,500 this month using these methods that I am telling you guys. So, and if we look at this bet here, as we talked about, you know, this is a perfect example of a positive expected value bet where, okay, I didn't gather too much value, but again, I was still in the positive. I think this one had some pretty significant value. Yeah, 4% is great. So as you can see, I got this bet at minus 109, and the bet actually closed at minus 120. And minus 120 simply means that the money moved in a direction that's favoring this bet to happen. But I actually got the payout of a minus 109 bet, even though the market's closed on the likelihood of this bet being minus 120. So to visualize that for people that are more visual learners, if we look at implied probability, so I said I had it at minus 109, right? So I got the payout of a bet that people thought had a 52.15% chance of getting, which means my payout is higher, but then the bet actually closed at minus 120. So it closed more likely to happen. So not only did I secure value initially when I placed the bet in comparison to the other books, but the line actually moved in my favor, giving me an even better chance of making money. So we covered expected value, covered arbitrage, converting the promos, playing through any promos or playthrough requirements, and then we have talked about tracking your bets. As you can see here, all time I am up over 10 grand using these methods. I have a positive expected value of 5.61. Not every bet you're going to get is going to land in the, basically plus closing value, you know, sort of space. There will be some that they move the opposite direction, and that is part of the game. But as you can see, more often than not, 80% of my bets are closing in, the green, so to speak, when it comes to expected value. So, and one thing I think might be interesting to show you guys as well too, if we look at again, expected profit versus actual, like as you can see, actual positive EV profit versus expected, um, positive EV profit. So, as you can see here, like my expected was only 252, but I've actually made 506. Whereas if we look at here, again, still low, still low. They kind of came to a good, even point here and then, continue to sort of, trend back upwards. So, this is just the math doing its thing. Again, the more volume that you can lay down, the better. And then eventually, once you really start to get into it, you'll start to be able to see like, all types of information and data that, can potentially help you. I want to see if, maybe I know the app has maybe a better illustration of it. I don't want to make this video too long, but just little things like here where you can see, kind of how much money you're betting off of, different leagues, right? I've made a lot of money on NBA, NHL, EPL, things like that. So yeah, guys, that is pretty much it. I hope that makes sense. I'm looking forward to helping each and every single one of you. And it doesn't matter how much money you have to start with because, between the promo converters that all these books have to offer with their lucrative promos, plus with, OddsJam telling you exactly how much to bet, even if it's only $100, you'll be able to make money in the long term being profitable using the promos, using arbitrage. Even if you just use those to start, it's a great way to start to build your bankroll. And then once you have enough money to play around with, you can then step into the positive EV betting side of things, which you don't even really have to do. You can use just arbitrage and the promo converters. If possible, these books, will offer deposit bonuses every month or maybe for the Super Bowl or the new year. They're always offering promos to try to pull clients from one book to the other. So you don't even really have to use EV. And if you want, let's say I don't know, it's the World Series and you want to go in and you're just curious, okay, hey, I want to bet on whatever team is there to win. I'm a Phillies fan, so we look here at the Phillies. Okay, I'm looking at all these lines and I'm going to take this bet at minus 130 because out of these books, that's the best line, right? So again, even if I'm just betting for fun and I just want to enjoy it, you might as well make sure that you're getting the best price so that if the bet does win, you are going to be profitable. And the final analogy I'll leave you guys with, and I kind of will always tell this to people as a good way to visualize it, but imagine you're buying a stock right? And I buy it at $95 and you buy it at $100. It's not going to guarantee that the price is going to go up, but if it does, I'm going to be that much more profitable. And then if it goes down, I'm also going to be that much less in the negative. So that's also a good way, if you're familiar with stocks and understand kind of how they work to visualize it. So I hope this helped. Please reach out with any questions, and I look forward to hearing about all your guys' success. All right.